Oh shit, I think we're fucking recording.
Are we now?
It didn't make me
Are
delete videos this time, so that's cool.
That's good. Yeah, I saw you're still pretty full. You need to go through and delete more videos so you have more space.
Yeah. Hey, so last night something special happened. Before we get into our topic, last night
Mhm.
something kind of special happened.
Should we tell the good people watching that this is
Oh yeah, this
that
is
we're recording?
pre-recorded.
Yeah. So hello, people of the future.
Hello, folks of the future. Did we make it? You let me know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell us in the chat if the aliens have invaded yet.
So last night I come back from home from work. You know, I like to put on some shows, have them playing in the background. And I like to
Yeah,
put on some
yeah.
Helldivers, right?
Of course.
But then something weird happened, Jason McLean. Something weird
Okay.
happened. So I turn on my game. It's a black screen. I'm like, what the fuck? And then it starts downloading something.
Uh-oh.
It's a big file. And I'm like, what the fuck? So as it's downloading, I decided to let it download. And I wanted to go on the YouTube interwebs, check on the Helldiver community, see what the fuck is going on. Lo and behold, the Game Awards were happening.
Yeah, I heard about
It's
that.
like the Oscars for video games. And
Yeah,
during this time, they present all the trailers for the new games coming out for the next year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I look up Helldivers 2 to see what exactly in the fuck I was downloading.
Yes.
And behold. So, you know how Helldivers, you're fighting like either giant bugs a la Starship Troopers,
Yeah.
or the robots a la Terminator, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're introduced a new faction, Jason McLean. A new faction. And
Okay.
holy shit. Holy shit, Jason McLean.
They arrived without warning.
Oh, fuck. UFOs.
Laying waste to our peaceful colonies.
Oh, shit. They just killed a bunch of kids. What the
Crushing
fuck?
all resistance.
Oh, my God.
They stole our citizens' homes.
They stole our citizens' homes.
Minds.
They took over their
And
minds.
something
Much worse.
Their freedom.
They took their freedom.
But when our citizens are attacked, our greatest heroes arrive to set them free.
Freedom, bitch. We gotta set those zombies free. The alien zombies.
So basically they're fighting the Covenant from Halo.
But with zombies.
But with zombies.
Oh shit.
And we got tripods from
We got yep.
From War of the Worlds.
Yep.
And we got AT-ATs.
Oh yeah.
AT-ATs for the nerds.
And ATSTs too.
Excellent.
Who will take back control of freedom.
For freedom.
And deliver peace to our homes. We are the Helldivers.
Oh fuck, Jason McLean. Holy shit.
That does look fun.
So yeah, every time I blast an alien in the face, I'm just like, for Trump. I'm not even a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
How about them apples?
But you feel better now but you feel better now, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
So yeah, I just had to share that with the world, for all of the non-gaming fans out there. You know what I'm going to be doing after this. What's up? Yeah.
Yeah, what they're missing. Yeah. I get
Speaking of heroes for freedom, tonight we have a special topic prepared.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about Ben Carson and
Billy Carson.
That's what I said. And we're going to talk about some esoterical shit. So, you know, because Ben Carson's all about that esoteric stuff, all the deep ancient, that's what I said. All that deep ancient knowledge and that Gnostic shit. And I'm not talking about agnostic, the A. I'm talking about Gnostic with the G. This is like the special, deep in the know kind of Christian scholarly works. You know how like the Bible is like mainstream Christianity? Gnostic with the G, yo, that's like the deleted scenes.
Well,
That's like all the deep in the know shit.
he would like to he would like you to think that, yes.
Yeah, so
As well as other secret knowledge that only he has.
this is
You
like
know.
the Christianity Deluxe edition.
Well, and he would say that Christianity is a cult. So for those, if you have not run across Billy Carson, I'm surprised, because you're watching this show, which means you have those interests. He's been on a lot of podcasts, right?
He's been on Gaia TV.
Yeah. Joe Rogan, Ben Patrick David, he runs a very large channel, Forbidden Knowledge, I think is the name of it. And he's very much into the, basically it's ancient alien theory or ancient astronaut theory specifically. But yeah, he's been around talking his stuff, and he claims to be an expert in ancient texts and manuscripts in ancient languages. Yep.
And this is fitting because a couple months ago I talked about Maximum Wu with Brandy and Randy.
Yes, you
and
did.
then earlier this week we talked about some Atlantis shit. With
perfect.
Brandy and Randy. Some Maximum Wu. I talked about Edgar Cayce. I talked about the Law of One.
Yeah.
And how Noah may have actually been an Atlantean refugee.
Mm-hmm.
And all the hidden deep secret knowledge. And who better to bring on as a guest than my expert in the mainstream Christian stuff, Jason McLean.
Yes. Well,
so how does it feel, Jason, to be the representative of the mainstream Christianity?
Well, given what happened with Billy over the last 2 weeks, I guess, actually I'm feeling pretty good.
All right, so give us a quick summation of what exactly happened for the people listening who may not be familiar.
So for the people listening of the future, assuming we've made it this far, right? So again, Billy Carson is a self-proclaimed expert of ancient texts, right?
Ancient shit. Real ancient. Esoterical shit.
Esoteric. Yeah, he runs around, he talks about how, and we'll talk in this later about, and he said this for a long time. Everything I'm about to say is quotes from him, that the Sinai Bible, the oldest Bible that we have, it tells us that Jesus was never crucified. He talks about the gospel. He likes to talk about the gospel of the Holy 12. He likes to talk about the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the gospel of Jesus's
Emerald Tablets. Yeah.
Yep. So like this is who he is, and of course he's on that hardcore straight Sitchin work when it comes to like the Sumerian tablets and things like that. So he recently, and he's always said, "Oh, I'd love to debate a Christian, but they're too scared to debate me."
A vanilla Christian.
Yeah,
vanilla
normal.
Christian.
Yeah. And so he had a friend by the name of Mark who has this other podcast. He invites him on, and he's told in advance, "Hey, you're going to have a conversation with Wesley Huff, who's a Christian scholar, an actual Christian scholar." And so let me give you a description of who Wesley Huff is. He's Canadian, so he's the most polite human being you'll ever meet in your life. He's actually Dr. Wesley Huff. And he's a scholar of New Testament and early Christian scribal culture. I had to write this down to make certain I got it correctly. I got it correct because it's scribal culture. And what that means is it's not the text itself that his expertise is in, although obviously he's a historian, he's reading the text, but he's not really doing textual criticism. What he's doing is he's analyzing the texts and the culture of scribal work in the early Christian movements, and like he's measuring between letters. He is looking at indentations. He's finding out his specialty is how these texts were copied down, right? So it's the mechanics of it, that kind of thing, and the culture around it. That's his specialty. But he is a historian. But that means he's also an expert in papyrology, which is the study of papyrus, and paleography. And of course, early Christian writings, you'd have to be for that. So he's an actual scholar. And we're going to put a link to the debate because and we'll talk about why it took so long for the full debate to get released. But we'll put Donnie will put a link in the debate or to the debate below so you can go watch it.
No, I'm not. Don't
Yeah, you are.
Don't put extra work on me, dude. Come on,
Well,
man.
you have
know
to
how I
put
am.
something in the description. I'll give it to you. It'll be fun. Anyway,
Fine.
so it goes about as well as you would imagine. Donnie, would you be so kind as to pull up that short that we pulled? Now,
Sure.
unfortunately, we don't get to see the full glory of it, and it's a short, so a lot of things have been edited. But you get the feel.
According to the
for it.
Okay.
According to the Sinai Bible, Jesus wasn't crucified in that Bible.
Do you mind if I ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
When you say the Sinai Bible, what are you referring to specifically? Refer to the Sinai Bible. Would you be referring to Codex Sinaiticus, like the codex that comes?
Ben Carson's not get
I was
owned.
trying to get some clarification.
Billy Carson
because
confirms
have,
that he's been that. Pause this real
I have
quick.
a facsimile, so I have a photocopy of.
So this is just so everyone knows. Again, for years, multiple times in front of everybody, he's referred to the Sinai Bible, which I've never heard of. I've never heard of anything called the Sinai Bible. I just assumed it was another one of the fake documents that he likes to allude to. We'll talk about those later. Wesley Huff, because he's a genuinely nice guy, he's like, well, hold on. Do you actually mean Codex Sinaiticus? Which, of course, I have heard of. And he turns around, and this is where we've come back to the short. He actually takes a copy of, now it's only the New Testament, it's not the entirety of it, because those things run like $1,000. What he has, it is a book that has photocopies of every page of the New Testament in Codex Sinaiticus, because that's his area of study. Please continue with the short.
With the ass whooping?
Yeah.
Codex Sinaiticus that I work with in my office. So I have it here. And the only reason I asked for clarification is because Sinaiticus in particular is just a 4th century Greek manuscript. Its text of the Gospels reads almost identical to the modern Greek text that we develop translations from. When you say that it denies the crucifixion or that the crucifixion is there, I mean, I can go on right now, Codex Sinaiticus, and I can look up Matthew 27, where it has Jesus being crucified. And where was that piece
I found
discovered?
the text where I was referencing. Actually, I was misquoted. I misquoted there. It's the Gospel of Barnabas. According to the Sinai.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So because there's if you scroll up, there's another one. We'll come to that later where he talks about the Gospel of Barnabas. But let's talk real quick about Codex Sinaiticus and why this is important. This is only like the first opening salvo of this conversation, and here's why it's so important. He has on basically every major podcast I've seen him on, he's referenced the Sinai Bible, which is not a term anyone's ever used. I literally thought he was just using another one of his made up terms or his made up forgeries. But Wesley Huff confirming that he has, every time he said the Sinai Bible, he has meant Codex Sinaiticus. This is important because, as Wesley just pointed out, and as every scholar in the world knows, it's virtually identical to what we have today. And there's actually a really, really great episode he did with Inspiring Philosophy, and he has Matthew Winger on there. And they actually talk about the fact that, you know what, if you'd even talked to them back then, they wouldn't have called it the Bible. They would have said this is a collection that has the Bible within it or has important, canonical texts within it. But it does have some other books that we don't necessarily consider to be canon today, and beyond the, not even the Apocrypha stuff, but some other documents in there. But essentially, it's nothing more but the actual text. That's it. Like that's the text that we're using today. It's basically the majority text. This is important because he has stood in front of everyone and said, your faith, the Christian faith, is a fraud because the earliest texts do not have Jesus being crucified. And he has pointed to Codex Sinaiticus every chance he's gotten, saying, see, the oldest copy of the Bible doesn't have it. That has been his claim, not just on that evening, but every time he's talked about this. He has pointed to the fact that this claim that he's made that Codex Sinaiticus, or again, he calls it the Sinai Bible, doesn't have it in here, but it does. It always has. And what he likes to do is say I don't know that he actually makes the exact claim that it was added in the King James Bible, but he keeps, or version, he calls the King James Bible, and it's not. It's the King James Version. He keeps pointing to the KJV a lot, and a lot of these people do, because they pretend as if that's the Bible everyone's reading from, right? Or that's the version that everyone bases their translations on. So he's been lying this entire time. Like this right here, just this one scene from this debate should be enough to discredit anything he ever says, because he has laid the entire foundation for his argument on a lie. And here's the deal. If he is what he's claimed to be, then he knows he's lying. Period. This is not a mistake. This is a lie. Now, if this is just a mistake that he's repeated ad nauseum for years, then you've got another problem. That means he's not an expert in this field. You can either be an expert and lie, or you can be a fraud and have just gotten this one really wrong. I get things wrong all the time. I misspeak all the time.
I never get shit wrong.
Right?
Never.
No, you don't.
Never.
Never have.
This never happens. It's
Donnie will never, and Donnie never will. He's the Rick Astley of the paranormal world. But there's a difference between getting something wrong and knowingly lying. He has made this claim. This is part of his argument. And I've admitted when I get things wrong. We've talked about this in my books. When I said, "Oh, hey, I made a mistake here." And when I did a new book, I pointed that one out. In fact, I'll go ahead and say it right now. Working on a new eschatological book. I will have updates in there. And I'm also bringing back not another Bible study. It's going to be very, very different. But it's going to have all of the reference material you could want. This has been his big claim. Billy Carson's claims is, I'm the guy who brings receipts. Dude never brings receipts, because if he did, you'd instantly realize he's full of crap.
Have you ever watched the show Ancient Civilizations on Gaia?
Oh, I don't have time for that.
You gotta watch.
That's a whole. I mean, let me rephrase this. I have seen a lot of material from it, but it's like there's only so much.
No, Ancient Civilizations. That's their flagship show. It's so woo.
Yeah, it's
so woo.
Like I said, I've seen a lot of material from it. I just don't have that much time for that level of just insanity.
Demi-urge.
Yeah,
you are.
Yeah, maybe I'll give it a try. But pull up the so now he's moved his claim from the claim that he's always made, which is that the Sinai Bible, which he's confirmed he's always meant, the Codex Sinaiticus, was the earliest Bible, and the crucifixion wasn't there, but it is.
Okay.
So now he's like, no, I mean the Gospel of Barnabas. Here's
Are you ready?
Problem. Yes, go ahead and pull it up.
The Gospel of Barnabas. Jesus wasn't crucified in that Bible.
I've actually worked with, there are two manuscripts of the Gospel of Barnabas, which we only have 2 copies of. One is in Italian and one is in Spanish, not to be confused with either the Epistle of Barnabas or the Acts of Barnabas, which are 2 apocryphal documents from the 2nd century. But the Gospel of Barnabas in particular, we know it's a forgery. In chapter 92, it says that Jesus spent 40 days on Mount Sinai, and then he came to the Jordan River and he walked to Jerusalem. But Mount Sinai is more than a week's journey away from Jerusalem. It actually says Jesus is the Christ, but not the Messiah. Whoever the author is, he didn't know that those were the same words. The Gospel of Barnabas paraphrases Dante's Inferno, which was written in 1314. We don't have any evidence of it prior to the 14th century. So I'm a historian. So if there is something that denies the crucifixion, I want to make sure that I'm analyzing it and that the methodology by which I analyze it actually reveals that the content can be accurately tied to the event.
I misquoted there. It's the Gospel of Barnabas.
So real quick, again, because I don't even think Wesley in the debate mentions this. And this is just, it's sort of an aside, but it's not. The Gospel of Barnabas is not a Bible. It is a singular text. Like, now you could say the book of Matthew or the book of Mark, because again, Bible just means book. But but in this context, when you say Bible, you mean the entire collected edition of the canon. He still calls the Gospel of Barnabas a Bible, and it's not. And anyone who's looked at this knows it's a forgery.
Or fan fiction.
Well, so here's the difference between fan fiction and a forgery. A fan fiction, people admit that it's fan fiction. This was always presented as real. But
I have a counter argument to your claim, but keep going.
But it was presented as real in the 14th century, and as he points out, and he goes into a lot more detail, it looks like this was actually created by Muslims as sort of a counter argument. People tend to forget that going all the way back to the beginning, there were people who had different ideas about Jesus, people who had different agendas, about this. So
the Gospel of Barnabas was actually made by Muslims to kind of dunk on Christianity?
Yeah, in the 14th century, yeah.
Oh, wow. And to paraphrase Dante's Inferno, that's hilarious.
Oh, it is. See, and this goes back to something that, again, when you deal with the nuance of history, and this is something we've talked about a lot, just because somebody writes something down doesn't make it true. People have agendas. You have to actually look at what the agenda is.
Can I give you a counter argument to your whole...
It's not fan fiction? Yeah.
It's not fan fiction thing? Okay. Here's a perfect example. Ready?
Yep.
50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Grey, in essence, is a fan fiction of the Twilight series.
Yeah, it is.
But nobody outright admits that. Like, the movie doesn't admit it. They don't say it is. The author doesn't admit it, but everyone knows it's a fan fiction of Twilight. But it's not like 50 Shades of Grey takes place in the Twilight universe.
Yeah. No, you know what? So you know what? I'll take it. You know what? It is just fan fiction.
In this situation, the Bible is Twilight. And the Gospel of Barnabas is 50 Shades of Grey.
Except it's one chapter from 50 Shades of Grey.
Okay.
So, all right. But you know what? I'll let you have it. It's not bad. It's not entirely wrong. It's more about the intent, but you're right. Speaking of fan fiction, this is my favorite part entirely. And we've actually talked about this on this show. One of Billy Carson's favorite things to talk about is the Emerald Tablets of Thoth.
Oh, I think I got a clip. I found it.
Yeah.
I found a good clip.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah. Just let's hear it, and then I've got a lot to say about it.
Okay,
I wrote down some things. Just
I think I may have found a good clip. Ready?
Yeah, good. Go for it.
A virgin birth. When you read the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, you discover that he talks about he developed the ability to incarnate at will on and in any plane that he desires. I've just done the work. I've read so much information, and I've been able to put together so many dots.
You didn't come up with this. You read this from somewhere. What did you read that told you this?
The Gospel of the Holy 12.
The Emerald Tablets of Thoth don't exist. In 1925, a man named Maurice Doreal claimed to have gone to the Great Pyramids in Giza and discovered an artifact that he called the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. And then he produced a translation of the said document. But Doreal never actually produced any evidence of any tablets, merely told people he did. Sure, you can go on Amazon and buy a supposed translation of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, but you're just reading what Doreal made up. No archaeologist or Egyptologist today thinks there is any artifact called the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. The Gospel of the Holy 12 is also a forged document.
The Bible, you discover he's born of virgin birth.
Yeah, we'll talk about we'll talk about the.
Yo, I always learned the Emerald Tablets. That was like the hidden truth. You know, you see people in the people in the paranormal cryptid community. You see them in the chats. You know, a lot of them will make the general comments, or they're usually pretty nice and say hi to each other, make little jokes or side comments.
Yeah.
But every now and then you'll see that one serious ass motherfucker come in and drop some esoterical shit and mention, "Oh, I know about the Emerald Tablets of Thoth," and then everyone else is thinking, "Oh man, this motherfucker's serious." That's some serious ass. That's some deep level woo shit right there. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth. Thoth himself. wandered the earth, incarnated from a higher dimension to bring this knowledge
And he
inscribed on a piece of emerald.
Mm-hmm. And Billy Carson specifically said that anytime Jesus is speaking, he's just quoting from the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. Now, can I tell you some things that Wes Huff is too nice of a person to say?
Sure. Bring the be the asshole, Wes Huff.
Well, I'm also just way
Remember there was that anger translator where they did with the Key and Peele and Barack Obama?
Yes.
You can be Wes Huff's anger translator.
Can I be?
Yes, please. This
All
is
right.
the platform for it, baby.
So Maurice Storial, the guy who went to Egypt, in fact, and went into in 1930, or probably would be 29, and then he writes it in 30, goes into the Great Pyramids of Giza, which again, okay, you think that's really going to happen, but whatever. He finds a room no one has ever seen to find tablets no one else has ever saw. No one ever saw. So again, no human being except for him found the tablets. There's some part of the story about him being led there by the spirit of Thoth, but whatever. So he then takes these emerald tablets back to America and then translates this language that's 20,000 years old and no one's ever seen before by himself. Again,
oh man, that's some antediluvian shit right there. 20,000 years? Holy shit.
Yeah, it would. By the way, Maurice Dorial, not only is he not a linguist or anything, he was born Claude Doggins. And at the same time he releases the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, he creates his cult, the Brotherhood of the White Temple.
Why does it gotta be white?
That's what I'm saying. That's
messed up, yo.
It is, particularly for someone who's channeling Thoth. Also, at one point, he claimed that when he was in LA, he was taken by two Atlanteans to a secret cave under Mount Shasta, where he learned some things too and communed with
to
them.
be fair, there's a lot of weird shit going on in Mount Shasta.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the question then becomes, do we believe that this man just goes to Egypt, finds these tablets, shows them to no one, translates them, this language that's 20,000 years old by himself, never shows it to anyone, and then creates a cult? Or is it more likely that he just created this fiction out of nowhere because he was starting a cult? Also, like to point out, a lot of people have noticed that there seems to be a lot of themes and content that comes straight out of H.P. Lovecraft. Dude created a cult and plagiarized H.P. Lovecraft to do it. And anyone would know this if they just read the damn book. It's pretty obvious what's going on here. There's even some other weird things, but we'll leave it. We'll let it go. So, is it more likely that what's the best option here? That this dude who's changed his name and has started a cult simply wrote fan fiction, wrote some H.P. Lovecraft fan fiction, or that he went to Egypt, found a room no one's ever discovered.
Oh, that's like the Book of Nod shit. You know about the Book of Nod?
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
Do you know the origin of the Book of Nod? I was there for it.
Not specifically. I'm aware of it, but yeah, not.
Are you familiar with tabletop RPGs?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons and stuff.
Yeah. So
Are you familiar with White Wolf?
Again, never played, but yeah, I'm aware of it.
With that whole Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah.
Werewolf, the whatever, mage stuff, whatever.
Instead of going back and forth, why don't you just tell everyone what it is? Because I'm aware of these things, but I've never engaged with them.
The Book of Nod was published as a part of the Vampire Masquerade universe as like the origin story of all vampires.
Did people take it seriously?
It was literally the lore book. Like Warhammer 40K?
Yeah. They have lore. Yeah, they have.
It's got all this lore, right? A whole fuck ton of lore, right?
Hold on, guy. For the people watching this, if you don't know, if you have no one in your life who loves Warhammer 40K and you have not had this experience, if you meet someone who loves Warhammer 40K, for the love of this, unless you want to spend the next 4 or 5 hours,
Don't do
to
it.
not mention it. If
Don't
you
do
see
it.
that they're into Warhammer 40K, run like hell.
Don't do it.
Perfectly nice people like that. But what I'm saying is, if you're not prepared,
Don't do it.
if you're not prepared, you need, but it just
Mm-mm.
be ready.
Be ready.
Be ready. Now continue. So yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's very much.
So
like,
the Book of Nod goes into how, after this, it picks up where after the story Cain and Abel,
yeah,
right? Where Cain is like, Cain kills Abel, and then God gives him all these chances to like redeem himself or to atone, right? And Cain keeps denying the opportunities. So every time he does it, God puts in a new curse. And each curse is a different vampire ability.
yeah.
And so then Cain becomes the first vampire.
Okay, makes sense.
So in the Vampire Masquerade universe, the vampires refer to themselves as the children of Cain, and then they refer to regular ass humans as the children of Seth.
Interesting. But did people take this seriously?
I was like, I saw it mentioned in like some esoteric circles. I was like, you mean that lore book from Vampire the Masquerade?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah,
That was it.
Yeah, it's like again, I'm a comic nerd. I know about these. I know, but I never engaged with it. People think it's real.
I mean, I don't know. It's like the Necronomicon. I was like, wasn't that shit from Evil Dead? I'm like, why are people actually talking? Dude, I was listening to this one podcast one day of a guy that we both know. I'm not gonna mention any names. They had like open listener call-ins where people were talking about, calling in and giving their paranormal experiences. One redneck ass dude is like, hey man, I got the book of Necronomicon and I've been studying it to learn about the arts and the ways. And then the host was like, yo, you better not be reading that. That's some evil. You bringing some dark shit in there. And I'm like, you mean the book from the Evil Dead?
Okay, so real quick, there is a Necronomicon. So okay, that's really broad brush, really fast version of this. There's actually a lot of them from different ages and cultures and things. Necronomicon is sort of it's not really one book. The problem is Evil Dead took the name because it's a cool name, but yeah, basically, yeah. If you're reading that today, you're basically more than likely reading just a forgery or again.
I saw that shit at Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, it's not
seriously.
It's not
they
real
sell
thing.
It there.
Yeah, they do. Oh, absolutely, they do.
Yeah,
it's not. Again, most of these things aren't real. It's like the Book of Jasher. I have it right behind me. That's not the real Book of Jasher. It is a book that was published using the name Jasher. But there's a lot of these things that are just flat out forgeries, or some every so often are sort of misrepresented. And so it's not like the intention of the author. Like the Book of Enoch is a great example. It's not fan fiction. It's not a forgery. But what it is, the best way to view it is that it was a theological treatise of the day, sort of an exploration of Second Temple theology.
You know what, Jason? We got to do another podcast on that.
Okay,
let's do it on Paranormal Show and Tell.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I'll talk to Randy and Brandy about it.
Okay, but yeah, so it's like there are books out there, and the thing is, there's a couple different versions of it because as the book would travel, other cultures would take it and they'd reinterpret it and they'd create their own version of it. So when we talk about the Book of Enoch, we're talking about like First Enoch, but again, and I've talked about this every time. It's like, guys, Enoch did not write this book. Now, I will say this: there was a time when I thought maybe that was the case, or that some of it had come from him. Which again, always been public. But look, if I make a mistake, I want to tell y'all. But what it really is essentially it's a Second Temple period theological treatise and exploration of their own theology. It's all it ever was. Now, is it referenced in the Bible? Yes. Is it important? Very much so. But we need to recognize it for what it is. They weren't trying to say this is what Enoch actually wrote. However, a lot of people now present it as that's what it was supposed to be. So while there are people who are actually creating forgeries and fan fictions and things like that, other times there are books that are misunderstood and misrepresented in modern culture. So yeah, but like the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, straight made up. Same thing with like the Gospel of the Holy 12. It was literally it was a vegetarian interpretation of the Bible. That's all it was. It was some radical animal rights activist in the late 1800s writing.
Oh, it was old timey PETA dudes who just made up
Yeah.
their own version of it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Oh, damn.
And
Yeah.
he talks about the gospel. He loves how he talks about the book, the Gospel of Jesus's wife. It's a fragment, and it is true that there was a time when the woman. This is all like 2012 stuff.
Yeah.
I remember when it happened. It is in the Harvard Library.
Hold on. Keep going. I just got to dip out real quick because there's a book I got to grab, but keep going.
Okay. So the Gospel of Jesus' wife, it's literally just a fragment, which is fine. Fragments are really, really important when you're talking about the biblical text. So not dismissing things are important because it's only a fragment. It is important. But here's the deal. The papyrus is from the 4th century. That's true. The text on it is not. It is a modern forgery, and they found that out because someone who was looking at the text said, hey, hold on, I recognize something. The guy who made it had referenced a PDF version of the Gospel of Thomas, and in this PDF version, there was a particular word usage or error that only exists in this one PDF version.
Oh,
and they
shit.
copied it into the text. So it's like this couldn't have been copied from something thousands of years old. It had to be a mistake. It had to be this one PDF. That's how they knew it was a forgery. Now, let's go back to what the big problem here is. What was his claim? Billy Carson's claim is this was a whole book when it's just a fragment.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. We've known since like 2014 that this was a forgery. This is not something that came out last year.
Hey, Jason,
Mm-hmm.
would you like to know the actual truth about Mary Magdalene and all that? I got it right here.
Mm-hmm.
You ready for it?
I'm ready.
I got this book. If you thought Ben Carson shit was woo,
Billy Carson.
That's what I said. Wait till you see this. Oh shit, I got it.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
That too.
I read this shit and I was like, "Oh, really, Edgar Casey? Is that what actually happened?"
Yeah.
He spills the fucking beans. All the little gaps in the gospel, a whole bunch of shit you didn't know.
Oh, does he have him going to India? I can't remember if that because I know it was somebody else. It was some guru. It was a Hindi guru who was like, I knew Jesus came here because I felt his vibrations. Like, all right. But I wasn't certain if Casey did the same thing.
Oh, well, he goes a little further. He doesn't talk that much about the whole India excursion, but I don't disbelieve it because there was that one Buddhist temple that had that little like sign-in sheet from like back in the Dizay, and there was this random ass dude from the Holy Lands who showed up very suspiciously around that time.
Yep.
And he learned the Eastern mysticism, right? I'm a proponent of that, right?
Learned how to make nunchucks.
And he went over to like the Far East and studied with the Shaolin.
So he could beat up Dogman.
Yeah.
But not to get too far.
Okay. So one of the things this book mentions, it identifies the three wise men.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it does. And and Edgar Casey also expounds that it wasn't only three wise men. There were more. There were just the first three. But basically he describes how like the heads of all the major faiths and religion, they knew that, the Messiah came and they all came to not just pay homage, but those three wise men. The first one was like the head of all like the Hindu religions. The other one was the head of like Zoroastrianism, and the other one was the head of all the secret esoteric schools in ancient Egypt, or Egypt at that time, just old Egypt,
Yeah.
I guess at that point. And
It was
those
still
three
it was still probably
guys
ancient Egypt, honestly.
came together not only to devote their loyalty to the new Messiah, but to also volunteer their services as their like as his spiritual teachers and tutors until he would
Oh,
get too big for them. And then
yeah.
he would move on to the next master and then the next master. So that whole India excursion, that was just him
Mhm.
studying with the Indian master, the Hindu master.
Oh, gotcha.
One
So
of the three.
He was like Avatar. He had to learn the way.
Well,
to
his
fire
whole
and
coming
water.
up story, his whole origin story, it's like a Rocky IV montage, a training montage, where he studies with the Egyptians here, studies with the Zoroastrians in Persia, goes over to India, studies the Eastern shit, and then he's got all these extra like skills and all the spiritual powers, and he takes the best of all worlds and combines them into one force of awesomeness, and then comes back and then does his ministries and shit.
There
And
you
by
go.
that point, walking on water, that's fucking easy, man. He's got that Shaolin shit going on. Of course he's gonna walk on water.
Exactly.
So yeah.
And it's probably where he learned all of the emerald from all the words from the emerald tablets of Thoth.
You know what else Edgar Casey said? Do you know what he said about Mary Magdalene, Jason McLean?
What?
He clarifies that Mary Magdalene was not a prostitute.
Well, reading the gospel actually would tell you that.
She was the
continue.
madam.
Oh, she was the is that
She was
it
the
got
madam.
worse. It got worse. She's not only not only she
No, but
not a
here's the thing though.
she's
Okay,
the
according to
running
Edgar
prostitute.
Casey,
Yeah.
her whole brothel that she was running, it was actually a front for the at the time the Jewish, those upstart to the rebellion, right? The zealots.
The zealots, yeah.
Yeah, right. And that was kind of just starting to kick off during Jesus's ministry. It was like kind of brewing at that time.
Mhm.
And her whole brothel, the reason why Mary Magdalene was a madam of that whole place, it was an intelligence gathering front. Because these prostitutes would be hooking up with like Roman soldiers, and why are you laughing? This is serious stuff.
She's okay. Hold on.
This is serious stuff, Jason McLean.
Hold on. You're telling me? Okay. So the zealots, for those who don't really know, because literally this is where we get the word zealot from. These were the ultra orthodox Jews of the time. These were the ultra nationalists. This is why Simon the Zealot and Matthew the tax collector it's so important that they are both his disciples, because the Zealots were an ultra orthodox sect of Jewish thought.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that they were like,
and Mary Magdalene was a spy for them. She gathered intel from the Roman legion.
Yeah, because that's exactly what they would have used.
Actually, using prostitutes back then would have actually been pretty.
No, it would have been brilliant, but they wouldn't
Yeah.
have done it. Like, these are not the kind of people who would have done that.
But
That's
Mary
the problem.
Magdalene would have done it because she a renegade. Now, here's the thing: the way she hooked up with Jesus, according to Edgar Casey, Mary Magdalene's actual brother and sister were actually like followers of Jesus, and then they were the ones, because she was close with her brother and sister. They were the ones who had introduced Jesus to her, and that's how she got hooked up with the whole Jesus movement.
Yeah.
Edgar Casey.
All right.
It's all right here.
Just when you think Billy
I
Carson,
keep going. That's not even the most shocking thing he says.
there's something even more shocking than that.
Do you want me to blow your brain? Are you
Please
ready
do.
for this?
Oh, my loins.
I've been holding on to this one. Since the day I met you, I've been holding on to this one.
Okay.
According to Edgar Casey, do you want to know what Jesus' real identity is?
Please tell me.
Okay. You ready for this? I'm so glad you're sitting down right now. I'm so glad.
Okay, good. Hold on.
Jesus is actually Adam.
What?
Reincarnated.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that makes so much sense.
So the crucifixion is actually his atonement for the original fall of man.
Bam.
Boom.
Edgar Casey,
Explosion.
20th century psychic.
But he wasn't a direct reincarnation. It wasn't like he was Adam and then died and woke up like eons later as Jesus. The incarnation of Jesus, that was like his 20th something form. Like he had like a bunch of times.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
just the one time he got it right.
Well, yeah. Well, Joshua in the Bible.
Yeah.
That was a previous incarnation of Jesus.
So he just kept screwing up, and then finally he
That's
got it
why.
right.
That's why they got the same name, baby. That's why
Yep,
they got
they
the
do.
same name.
If you don't know, we leave it untranslated. We have it as the Greek transliterated version, but yes, his
Yeah.
name was Joshua.
Yeah.
If we were to translate Jesus' name, it would be Joshua. And again, we've talked about why, him being an exorcist was such an important connection to Joshua. So, well, there you go. I thought we couldn't go harder.
You didn't think we could go wooer than Ben Carson, but we did.
Billy Carson, but we
That's
did.
what I said.
But we did.
Yeah.
So here's the quick update on all of this. So again, as I've stated before, Billy Carson, full of crap. Everything he loves to throw out things. Essentially, he knows people aren't going to double check. He runs face to face with an actual scholar, and he's taken apart like a toy, like a little toy.
He gets dunked on
hard. And again,
Yeah.
it's the dude's Canadian, so he's being very polite. He's not trying. In fact, I was listening to an interview he was doing for Inspiring Philosophy. He's like, I thought he called it a nothing burger. By the way, I hate that term. If you use it, I want to smack you. I'll let Wesley Huff get away with it because of what he did. But it's a terrible phrase. But he said that he left when he was done with the debate. He's like, I didn't even get to ask him any of the questions I really wanted to ask because there's so much that he really wanted to talk to him about. And so he's like, this was nothing. Billy Carson freaking out about this is what's made it so big and why so many people have now seen it. But here's the new thing is he was suing to try and keep it off the interwebs, which is why we're hoping the link will work because Wes Huff went ahead and put it up since he's suing everybody. But he goes on a 3-hour rampage, Billy Carson. He goes on this 3-hour rampage talking about how he's got so much money, how his home has 5 different air conditioners. And he admits to that his lawsuits are not intended. So he is legitimately suing everyone involved.
He showed up at the dude's house.
Yeah, he showed up at 2 a.m.
At 2:30 a.m. Straight up showed up at his house. I'm like, what in the fuck?
Yeah,
I saw that clip.
Yeah, the Mark the guy who's actually doing that podcast, because Wesley and Ben or you got me doing it, Billy show up. They were guests on this dude's podcast.
Right.
Billy and Mark are supposed to be friends. They're even neighbors. He shows up at 2 a.m. begging him not to post this video because he knows how bad it is. Well, he's suing everyone. By the way, Mark, the guy whose podcast it was, let me put this down. Yeah, he's supposedly Billy's friend. His main job, his career is helping people with disabilities get jobs. That's who he's suing. But in his 3-hour tirade, Billy admits that his lawsuits they're not really defamation lawsuits. He admits that they're slap lawsuits. He's like, I just want to drain them of all the money they would have made from this episode. So allow me, I'm not an attorney at all, but Donnie probably has a lot of the similar overlap because we're in different types of insurance. So a lot of my time is spent in and around the legal system and with lawyers. You know what no attorney in the world is ever going to tell you to do if you're filing a slap lawsuit is admit that it's a slap lawsuit.
Oh.
Because you've now admitted that it's a frivolous lawsuit and that you're doing this to penalize somebody, not because you have standing.
Yeah, they're never going to tell you, hey, maybe you shouldn't file this lawsuit.
And then, they're also going to tell you to shut the hell up.
Yeah.
Because now you're causing yourself problems. Well, he just admitted this was a slap lawsuit, and he admitted that he knew who Wes Huff was, and that he knew it was going to be a debate before he went. He admitted that he went there of his own volition, that this wasn't an ambush, that he knew what was going on. That's another thing that an attorney is going to tell you is if you're going to sue somebody claiming that you were ambushed, don't admit you weren't ambushed. So He's pulled his 3-hour tirade where he talks about how much money he has and how Christians are just all poor people and they deserve to be poor. They took that down, but it's too late because somebody's got a video. Has got plenty of people have copies of that video.
Oh no, this shit's already gone viral.
Oh yeah, it's
This
bad.
shit's gone. Yeah, there's so many because there's so many Christian YouTubers who are so like, yes, score one for Team Vanilla.
Yep. Well, also the dude's a con artist. That's what he is. Billy's a con artist, and he got caught. And again, he even said on Patrick Bet Day, he's like, I'd love to do a debate. He's like, no one will debate me. No, he wouldn't do a debate. He basically did this not realizing who Wes Huff was and gets schooled hard and just exposed for what he is, a fraud. Just like Sitchin was, just like all of these people are. And why I dislike these people so much, again, not that I'm not praying for the guy, but the reason I have so much animus against these kinds of people is they are knowingly lying to people who they know will not take the time to double check them or really have the ability to double check them. Right? That's sort of the problem. And they make millions and millions of dollars just defrauding people, again, which is why I hate mega pastors. Talked about that. I had a whole channel. But
you got to do a show on that. Just mega pastors. I've been begging you for that show, Jason McLean. I want to hear your real thoughts on some of these pastors, man.
Well, again, I've never really sugarcoated it when I've talked about it. But when Not Another Bible Study comes back, there will be an episode on that.
I just want to see you dunking on people like Kenneth Copeland and like, what's his name? What's the other guy's name?
Well, Joel Osteen.
Joel Osteen. I want to see you just dunking on those fools, you know?
Benny Hinn. So Benny Hinn's here is actually here in Dallas.
Yeah.
I have a funny story I will have to tell you off air.
Okay.
But yeah, trust me, there will be an episode dedicated to that. So again, I dislike them the same way I hate these mega pastors because they are knowingly lying. And they're scamming people. This stuff is hard and it's important because it matters. And you have so many people being led astray, and relationships are destroyed, lives are destroyed because of this stuff, psyches are destroyed because of stuff that this guy has said. So, it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. So that being said, hey, what is you normally show me the thumbnails for your shows?
Oh shit! I forgot to load it. Hold on, real quick. Bear with me.
Oh, so
damn, that's the one. Yeah, I was gonna show you because I was actually kind of cool with this one. I've been getting into my thumbnails lately, man.
You should. You're good.
Billy Carson, esoterical shit.
Dude, that's not Billy Carson.
What do you mean?
That's been. Wait, you've been calling Billy Ben this whole episode.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying.
Billy Carson and Ben Carson are not the same guy. Ben Carson is a noted neurosurgeon.
That's not Billy Carson?
No, that's Ben Carson. I wanted him to win in 2016 for the Republican nominee. We got Trump instead. I'm glad he was working in the housing and urban development. He did some really good things. But that's Ben Carson, noted neurosurgeon. He was the first man to separate conjoined
this dude was a neurosurgeon. Damn. Yo, this dude was a neurosurgeon?
Carson. Yes.
Damn, that's a good endorsement for the Emerald Tablets. I'm just saying from a neurosurgeon.
They're not the same guy. Wait a minute. Hold on. We just saw the videos, the shorts. Do you think that's the same guy as to your thumbnail?
I'm just saying, like, he looks smart.
Wait a minute.
That dude looks like he knows what he's talking about. That's all I'm saying.
Well, here's the thing. Ben Carson actually does know what he's talking about. Billy Carson doesn't, but they don't look alike.
Oh, they don't?
No. Are you wait. Out of morbid curiosity, do you have any other pictures of black celebrities or something that you could look at?
Are you accusing me of just not knowing not being able to tell them apart?
I just would like to see it.
That's rich coming from you to me. As an Asian man, everyone always tells me.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I could tell black people apart. Sure.
Okay.
Like, okay, let's think of some famous black people. Condoleezza Rice.
Okay, Condoleezza Rice. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Condoleezza Rice.
That's not Condoleezza Rice.
That's not Condoleezza Rice?
That's Candace Owens. That's not Condoleezza Rice. Do you have
enough? They're on the same team, I guess.
Sort of. One's even crazier though. Okay, well, hold on. Let's do Oprah Winfrey. Do you have a picture of Oprah Winfrey?
Well, she's famous as fuck. She's like the richest.
She's all kinds. Yeah, she's like
she's all kinds of rich. Yeah,
yeah.
Fucking Oprah, right there.
Mm-mm.
She's all sorts of famous and rich.
That's not Oprah Winfrey. That's Whoopi Goldberg.
No, man, she was in like Star Trek and shit, man.
Yeah, but that's not Oprah Winfrey. Whoopi Goldberg was Guinan in Star Trek.
What? Oprah? No, I always looked at Oprah and I was like, yo, she's so rich. She gave out all those cars. Of course she's giving out those cars. She was on Star Trek, yo.
Oh my gosh. Do all black people look the same to you?
How dare you accuse me of that? How dare you, sir?
I'm just asking because that was Whoopi Goldberg before she turned into Jabba the Hutt.
Oh, Whoopi Goldberg?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's when she was
close enough. I mean, they're on the same team.
Yes, they are.
They are on the same team, so close enough.
But not the same.
Okay, before I let you go, I got to show you one last clip, okay?
Just please.
Okay, this is a very viral clip. Let me just introduce this and why I'm going to show you this clip. This is a clip of Justin Wong, one of the most famous video fighting games, like the most famous Street Fighter players who's ever lived.
Okay.
The most, like, he's made a living. He's a celebrity in the video game world, in the fighting game world. This guy knows like every fighting game. And he's also a content creator. And I'm a big follower of his. I like him a lot. I actually played against him once and I actually beat him.
Really?
Yeah.
Back in the day?
Back in the Dizzy. But here's a clip from his show or his channel where he's playing Mortal Kombat against a random kid online.
Okay.
A kid who has no idea what's going on. And the reason why I want to play this clip, imagine in this situation if Justin Wong is Wesley Huff and that kid is Ben Carson. You ready?
Billy Carson.
That's what I said.
All right. Pop it up.
Oh, this is so good.
Okay, I'm new. So I'm new to the game.
Kid's like, I'm new. Go easy on me.
Why are you picking Jack?
Why are you picking Jack? I want to be Jax too.
I want to be Liu Kang.
I want to be Liu Kang. Just as Wong is just like.
So Wong, wait, Wong is going to be Jax?
Yeah, he's going to be Jax.
Oh. This is not going to go well.
Remember, Justin Wong is Wesley Huff. The kid is.
No, because Liu Kang is so hard to play.
Can you please use it on me?
Oh, and this is from X? Yeah, this is going to go bad.
You just go easy on me. I'm new to the game.
Welcome to the real world. Welcome to the real world.
Okay, that's a
At least he got it.
At least he got a hit off him.
Yeah. So it's actually so far it's actually going better than the Wesley Huff Billy Carson thing.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is a cheat move.
He shows him no.
Today.
Yeah, you're gonna learn, kid.
No,
oh my god!
He's
just spamming him.
No,
oh my gosh!
You're gonna learn. This is the real world. You learn it early, son.
I'm done playing now.
Finish him.
You're a freaking jerk. All you keep doing is that.
He doesn't even do a fatality.
He doesn't even bother.
That's all you're gonna do.
Oh,
that is. Yeah, that was
Perfect
that
visual
was
representation.
a
Perfect analogy.
visual representation. Except the fight actually went better for the kid.
Yeah. He got a hit off him
Ah,
at least.
yeah, that was yes. That is
That's a
exactly what
perfect
happened.
ending. I think that's a perfect
ending.
ending to this show.
Perfect ending.
Yes. Peace. I'm going to go play some Helldivers. Y'all's have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday.
Assuming
Peace
we're all
out.
still here.
Yes.